You know the sprawl, you have drilled it 100 times. Someone shoots a double leg and you know exactly what to do, but your hips don't drop fast enough. You get taken down and you think my reaction time is getting slow. I need to drill this even more. Your reaction time is fine. The problem is your hip flexors are acting like a parking brake on your sprawl. And until you fix that, drilling the technique is not going to help. My name is Kowsan, and I'm going to explain this further in this video. Let me show you what's exactly happening. The biomechanics, why tight hip flexors kill your sprawl. Once you understand the mechanism, you cannot unsee it. A successful sprawl, there's three things that happens simultaneously and successfully. Simultaneously and explosively. Rapid hip extension, hip shoot backwards and downward. Hip drop. The pelvis drops below the opponent's head. Weight transfer. Body weight shifts backwards to create sprawl pressure. And all three of these require the hip flexors to lengthen rapidly under the load. That's something I understand. So if you sit at a desk for 4 or 5 hours in a day, your psoas and iliacus are neurologically adapted to the shortened position. And this is also the same case in Muay Thai and getting those leg kicks, it tips. Your brain is used to the 4 hours of just sitting on the desk without the extension. So when you violently extend those muscles during a sprawl, the nervous system panics. It detects rapid load lengthening and fires a protective contraction to prevent a tear. So the contraction is not voluntary. You cannot override it by trying harder or stretching more. It happens faster than you think about it. So from my personal experience, which I don't have yet, I've seen it where there's a lot in the sprawl to use your hip flexors. And having tight hip flexors does definitely make it much slower to get out of it and to win the sprawl match. And from this, if you're having a delay where both your hips are stuck when moving, the delay is pointing to a nervous system and it's hitting the brake. You don't drop your hips fast enough and the sprawl is a second leg and then the takedown happens and it lands. It's not a technique problem. It's a neurological one. So this goes beyond the sprawl and the entire ground game for wrestlers, BJJ, or anything similar to that. Here's what most people don't realize. It's not just your takedown defense. The same neurological restriction happens in other areas. For example, your hip switch speed, your guard retention, and your scramble ability. So when your hip flexors are locked, your pelvis cannot move independently as it moves as a single rigid block. Let me give you some examples here. For hip switch and guard, to avoid a guard pass, your hips have to move independently. Lock hip flexors mean your hips have to move together. And this is something I've seen just on videos where it's more telegraphed as your opponent could see that because both your hips are moving together. And that's something your opponent reads. So now scrambles. So this is where getting your knees from bottom position requires rapid hip extension. The same break that slows your sprawl also slows your scramble. And lastly, leg lock defense. Defending leg entanglements requires moving the hip through full range of motion quickly. So having restricted hip flexors means restricted options. So this becomes beyond just sprawl and takedown. It's not just, hip flexors are for kicking. It's really for movement in the overall side of things for all combat athletes throughout and athletes in general. And this specifically in this video, I'm just talking about how tight hip flexors affects this aspect of the game in sprawling and takedowns, leg lock defense, and hip guard. And all of this requires hip mobility, and this is fixable. So if you want the complete system to unlock your hips, I have a 12-week program. You can see the link below, and it gets you in this 12-week program as a foundation to unlock your hips and continue to work on it and understanding what requires just to get the foundation. I have a PDF program as well where it's self-paced, a free program as well. You can check in the link in the description so you can see quick hip fixes just to help see the exercises to do on a daily basis. And then if you want to have a stronger hip flexion and gain actual results in a long enough time period that you could keep, where I've done a lot of extensive research in my experience just from last year with the 25-degree hip flexion gain, just from a lot of experimentation, working with coaches and finding what works. Take a look at the link in the description below, and I hope this helps. All right, here is the fix. And I want to be clear, passive stretching is not gonna help here. Passive stretching does not train the nervous system to allow rapid load extension, which is what requires from sprawling. So what we need is active hip extension and training. So this is one of the exercises. This is one of the isometric holds I do. And it's just part of my programming where I do it along lunge, but instead of relaxing into the stretch, I extend the hips and hold a deep stretch, squeezing the glutes and really drive the hip forward, not the leg necessarily, but really the hips. You got to move more of the hips in this. Most people forget this side or miss this, but it's really getting the hips forward to really show, to get that stretch. And this is where you do it for, 5 to 8 seconds and then use PNF just to work towards it. And 2 or 3 sets. One of the things I learned from this is that you're helping your nervous system allow this range and it's getting used to it. And this is really working at the end range of your hip flexors. And this is something for your brain where it sees you extending and now it starts trusting the range. And when it starts trusting the range, you're able to go further. It's not putting an immediate break on it. So this is part of the exercises I do without weights in the morning. So it's part of my daily routine where I do more of these without the weight and just really extend it in the morning. And this helps a lot because you're doing this 5 minutes in the morning and every single day. So you don't have to do one session for 35 minutes, which is not going to be effective based on my experience. And just doing small intervals daily goes a big way. And this is something where the nervous system also responds to more frequency, as now you're used to it every single day instead of once a week. So the next component is active extension repetitions. So one of the stretches I've been doing that I find the most success is standing, knees bent, standing on one leg and bending your knees to your chest, keeping your legs straight, and then slowly moving that to 3 to 5 seconds, ideally to 5 slowly, and just having your hands up and just having your legs slowly go straight without lowering your leg. It's very difficult. I always had some issues on this, still do. It's because you still got to continue to work on it. But this is a really effective exercise because you're now controlling the end range and it's very slow. And you definitely get a lot working on your hip flexors because you're standing on one knee, and then you're like slowly extending the leg from your knees to chest. And it's very effective. You have to move slowly, but you're pushing to the end range in control. This is one of those days I use throughout the week. It's like day C for me, where I'm having the knees bent and then slowly straightening it out. Doing 2-3 sets of these, and it makes a big difference. You're really training this isometric hold and controlling the end range. And this is not a ballistic stretch. It's a controlled active movement, and you're using your muscles to move through range and not gravity. So this trains the neural pathway, and this leads towards the sprawl movement specifically. And this is something you teach the nervous system, that the movement you're making, it's safe, and I could push further. And you continue to do this and you're able to slowly show that you're like getting strong here and you're able to push more without the nervous system holding the brake. So this is active work. So active is the key word here. Passive movement does not make the neurological trust here, but active movement does. So the third component is speed progression. So this is where it goes directly to your sprawl. So once the nervous system starts to trust the range and slow speed, then you could begin to increase the speed of movement. And this is where it has the bridge between mobility training and combat movement, bringing the flexibility and mobility into combat training and applying it together. And this is a key thing where you have to start slow. And this builds over weeks, months, and then years. You got to start slow and then you start building throughout the weeks. And this is where the goal is to get to rapid hip mobility, where it feels natural and unbraked. And I look at it, the example I would do with my experience with Muay Thai is that I'm way more flexible and have way more mobility than compared to last year cold. So I don't have to do extensive stretches and partner front splits, all of that, just to get my legs to go over for body kicks. And that's just the slow work. But now once you get the flexibility, and this is a key point for me that I learned, is that it takes a long time to get there. But once you get it, then you keep it. And it's just, you just continue to work on it, continue to get better, continue to improve just on that. And it's just going to be a compound effect, and you'll start getting more gains, especially in a year. So something like this, having the hip mobility is when a fast sprawl required. The hip extension that the nervous system allows to happen at full speed. So here is just one aspect, and just the hip, how the hip mobility is very key. And in the 12-week program I have, shows how to sequence them, how to load them, how to build it, control it, and support it. All three of these key criteria to build strong, active hip flexors that you could keep, that works with your training schedule. And this is in the program, but this is the key components that where you start, and just to have an understanding. The next time you are taken down and sprawling, I want you to remember it's not your reaction time. It's not your technique. It's a neurological break. This is something you can fix. The sprawl is already in your body. You have to remove the thing that's preventing it. My head kick protocol is in the description. I have the PDF and then also the free hip flexor fix. You could do daily, and you can learn more about it in the links below. For the 12-week premium program, it's just, one-on-one, specifically tailored to what works for your specific needs. So if it's, in this case, BJJ, wrestling, or going into Muay Thai, combat sports related, Taekwondo, it's more of a program specifically to work with your current schedule, but you're able to make the gains that help with all types of hip related mobility, but building the strength and the keeping it, and just seeing what works and what doesn't, and just having another person who's gone through it to give what works and also work with the schedule without causing any sort of further injuries, and working with it. Take a look at the links below. The PDF is there as well. Subscribe if you like this, and there's more to come. Learning along the way and how important the flexibility is just in combat sports in all different aspects. It's great. And I hope this helps. See you in the next video. Thanks for your time.